Can your microbiome actually lower your triglyceride levels? This is fascinating research that I want to share with you today because it's a completely different perspective on how you could regulate this important heart disease and metabolic health marker. So this study was published in 2020 in the Integrative Medicine, a Clinicians Journal. This is a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial, which is the gold standard, top-of-the-line, best kind of research that can actually show causation, not just correlation. So in this study, they examined 80 patients that had a non-fasting triglyceride level of over 150, so mild to moderate level of high triglycerides. They were examining the effect of a 5-strain spore-based probiotic over 12 weeks to determine how it affected their triglyceride levels. The participants were randomly assigned to either get the probiotic or a placebo once in the morning. Their triglycerides were measured before the study, at the 6-week mark, and at the 12-week mark. So let's back up a little bit and say, why does this even matter? What do high triglycerides actually cause? Well, high triglycerides are very common, and they're saying that about a third of the population actually has high triglycerides. This can lead to an increase in atherogenic plaques, or atherogenic LDL, low-density lipoproteins, and even a decrease in HDL, or high-density lipoproteins. So they're increasing the bad cholesterol lipoprotein molecules, and they're decreasing the good cholesterol lipoprotein particles. So this may increase atherogenesis by increasing free fatty acids in the blood, increasing the amount of fibrinogen and other coagulation factors that can lead to blood clotting, and even the increase in release of pro-inflammatory cytokines, which are chemical messengers that stimulate inflammation in the body. High triglycerides are associated with obesity, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, and coronary artery disease, as well as acute pancreatitis. They're even associated with autoimmune conditions, and many immunosuppressive drugs cause an increase in high triglycerides. Studies are showing that high triglycerides are more important as a risk factor for cardiovascular disease in both men and women than simply looking at high cholesterol. Triglycerides are mostly produced in the liver and some in the intestinal tract, and they're carried through the blood on lipoproteins, primarily what are referred to as chylomicrons and VLDLs, very low density lipoproteins. Because triglycerides are mostly made of fat, they're not water soluble, and because the blood is water soluble, they have to be carried on these protein molecules when they're in the blood. Now, there's a lot of debate in the medical community around fasting or non-fasting triglyceride levels as the test that should be relied on. But there's newer research that's actually showing that non-fasting triglycerides may be a better predictor of cardiovascular events and the risk of stroke. Of course, pharmaceuticals are of great interest in the industry, but high triglycerides are not well managed by prescriptions alone. So there's tremendous interest in non-pharmaceutical interventions for high triglycerides, and generally this includes diet, exercise, and weight loss as a part of the strategy. So why would we want to look at probiotics? Well, numerous studies have shown that a proper balance of microbes and sufficient diversity are essential for optimal health, especially when it comes to metabolic health. So spore-forming bacilli, which is a type of bacteria, produce a large number of secretory proteins, enzymes, vitamins, carotenoids, and even antimicrobial compounds. Bacillus strains can also repair dysbiosis, which is an imbalanced gut microbiome or an imbalance of the microbes in the gut. They can repair gut inflammation and even repair the intestinal mucosa. So if you have any damage in your digestive system from eating a poor diet, from being exposed to environmental toxins, or taking in toxic products, these bacillus can actually help repair that damage. Bacilli have also been shown to benefit metabolic syndrome, reducing blood sugar, reducing total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol lipoproteins, VLDL lipoproteins and increasing the HDL, the high density lipoprotein, which are the good guys. Genetic research is also being conducted that shows that these bacilli can actually modulate your gene expression, so they can turn on or off genes that benefit your health. So let's get into this particular study. This study looked at 80 adult men and women that were on no medications, not pregnant, not breastfeeding, not alcoholic, and they were under no current medical treatment for any condition. Before the study, the mean triglyceride level was 206, so clearly over 150. And at the 6-week mark, you can see on this diagram that the mean triglyceride level for the placebo group went up a little bit, but the mean for the probiotic group dramatically decreased. And again, at the 12-week mark, you can see more of the same. The placebo group actually went up a little bit, and the probiotic group dropped even further. So of course, additional research is needed. This was a relatively small group, but it was fascinating, and it shows yet another tremendous benefit to having a healthy gut.